I'll begin by chanting Om. If you're comfortable, please join me. Everything that exists is made of vibration. Your physical body is vibration. Your thoughts are all vibration, right? Atoms vibrating, light. And the sound of Om is said to be the purest vibration. So you can think of it like a bubble bath, just bringing everything into balance and harmony. It's also the seed sound of everything that exists. So there's like this battery, the same battery that's operating me, that's in the center of my heart, is operating each of you. There's one source, the energy or love or God, whatever you like to call it. And Om is said to be that sound, its sound. So when we chant Om, it's like we're dissolving behind the scenes of these separate little shapes to the great puppet master, okay, which there's only one of. Right. Eyes are closed, sit nice and tall. Imagine you can breathe in through all the pores of your skin. Soften the skin as you breathe out. And bring all the attention to the spiritual heart, center of the chest, just to the right of the physical heart. So this source isn't outside of us. This source of unconditional love is closer to you than your own breath. And from the very center of the chest, we create the vibration Om. Let it move through our cells and through all of creation. Take a deep breath in. And you can keep your eyes closed or open them, whatever's comfortable for you. So last week I was sharing the causes of suffering in yoga philosophy. Hello, hello. And the main cause of suffering, for those of you who missed, is called avidya. It means ignorance. It's not ignorance that we're not smart in a worldly way. It's that we don't know who we really are. So we're not aware of what we really are. Yoga texts teach us that what we really are is the energy that's animating this body. So the soul, that individual soul, it rests in the center of your chest, just to the right of your physical heart. That's what we really are. But because we've forgotten that this is who we are. This is of the nature of eternal bliss, unconditional love, joy. Okay? This is what we really are. But we've forgotten this, so we identify with our separate self, this costume we're wearing, this like meat and potatoes suit that we're wearing. And the body, the mind, the senses, these are all tools for the true self, that infinite consciousness, that love to perceive through. Okay? So Dharma often says, you know, God is there, everything is infinitely peaceful forever. It gets boring like hell. Then you need to have creation. So creation in yoga philosophy is called Leela, the divine play. So we get to experience being different shapes, having different bodies, different senses of perception. And ultimately, we're none of these. These are just nature. These are costumes that we try on for a little bit, but then we go back into our source, back into our source. And the end of suffering is when it doesn't mean life stops, life continues forever, but it's when we learn how to experience through this body without identifying with this body. So we're kind of watching from behind as this beautiful source of unconditional love. And it takes a lot of practice because there are a lot of things that are keeping us identified to our separate physical body. All of our attachments, the things, because we don't know who we really are, we're looking for happiness outside of us. So we search, maybe I will find happiness if I get this job, or if I get this partner, or if I get to this weight. We're constantly searching for happiness and all these external things. but everything external is impermanent. It's subject to time, it comes to an end. So looking for happiness outside causes us to suffer, because even if we have it for a moment, eventually we lose it, right? So if we're attached to it, we suffer. Once we are able to stay connected to the true self and experience it, and then let it go and experience the next and the next and the next, then that's the end of suffering. So it doesn't mean that external things aren't meant to be appreciated. Everything is created for joy. So we're meant to have all these experiences for joy, but our problem is that we identify with them and attach to them. It causes suffering. So this morning I'm going to share a couple of the practical paths on how we can work with this. And I'm going to be talking about surrender. The foundation of yoga is called the yamas and niyamas. Asana is stage 3. Western yoga tends to be mostly asana, but the foundation is the ethical practices of yoga. This is how we treat each other, how we treat ourselves, and then these observances we take in how we care for life. So the main one is ahimsa. This can be translated as non-harming or compassion. There's a Yoga Sutras book by Alistair Shear where he describes ahimsa as a dynamic peacefulness. And I really like that because it's important to remember it's not black or white. There's not one set of rules. If I follow these rules, I'm not harming, and if I don't, I'm harming. Every moment is different according to the conditions that arise. So we need to tune into our intuition for what the best action is. And then in the niyamas, these are observances we do with ourselves. The last one is surrender to. The texts say surrender to God. Many people, the word God is challenging to them. You can say surrender to love or to energy. Dharma sometimes says the forces. Surrender to the source of everything. So it's the practice of realizing, even when the body is filled with worry, that there is a higher intelligence that's moving things, and knowing that this higher intelligence's main agenda is love. The ego, because the ego feels separate and the ego lives out of fear, it believes in blame and punishment. And sometimes it believes that the higher intelligence wants to punish us and judge us. And as you go further into the texts and deeper in your practice, you'll realize, no, it's all love. So surrender right now is really important because I know many of us, life is extremely uncertain right now. I know when my situation changed a couple weeks ago, I felt this incredible panic in my body. And the first thing that came into mind was like, I have to figure out what I'm going to do. And then I had a higher voice that told me not to, that said to stay strong, relax, and serve. And I realized that quick voice of I have to figure out what to do is the ego. So the ego functions out of fear. It fears that it won't have enough. It feels separate, and it works on fear. And the cycle that we've been living into, the way that the world has been functioning for I don't know how long, is the dynamic of fear. Everyone's busy, 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 busy. Why are we so busy? If you get to the end of it, it's fear. Hello, whoever's waving at me. So it's important to learn how to hear that voice that wants to control life and then learn how to tune into something deeper and surrender our actions to the force of love. So instead of functioning from all the ego's fears and beliefs of limitations and lack, moment by moment asking, okay, how can I serve love in this moment right now? And let's just do a quick meditation. I do this practice a lot, but I find it very helpful, especially right now. So you can bring your hands across to your shoulders, one hand on each shoulder. the eyes to close. Soften the breath and soften the skin of your palms so you can feel the current of the heartbeat through the hands. The arms are an extension of the heart energy. And you might even be able to feel the flow of the heart energy through the arms to your hands and then coming back into your body. If your mind is very busy in thinking, allow it to think, that's no problem. Just move your attention to the pulse of your heartbeat. Say, okay, thoughts, I hear you. I'm going to be back to you soon, but right now I'm tuning into a different radio station. And as you feel the heart beating on its own, recognize that there is nothing you have to do for this to happen. The body is being breathed without you having to control it. And this source that's breathing through your body and causing your heart to beat is so intelligent. It's a force of true intelligence that knew how to take a little egg and a sperm and grow arms and legs and eyes and heart and everything that exists now. And that whole process, we didn't have to do it. The body was just grown. So surrender is practicing bringing our attention again and again and again back to this force. And what this force really wants for our planet is for all of us to live in harmony, to love each other, to treat each other with kindness, to share, to be generous, but not out of punishment, out of joy and of love. And Ishvara Pranidhana, the practice of surrender, is offering our physical body in service of this energy of love. You can even bring your hands down now in the palms. If it feels nice to keep the hands on the heart, you can keep your hands on your heart. So how do we practice surrender? In meditation, you can sit and ask, all right, I offer these hands, I offer these words, these thoughts, this whole body to the source of love. Flow through me and use this body to serve your will. Which is often very different than the ego as well, but my experience of the little bits of practice, the few times I am successful in surrender, is that the higher self's will actually ends up being more joyful, more fulfilling than what the ego thinks it needs to do. The last piece I'd like to share here, you can contemplate surrender all day. And so as you walk around, the words that you choose, the conversations you have, are they serving love? Is there something you can do to greater serve love and compassion? And where are you paying attention? Our attention's the most powerful thing we have. So if your attention all day is watching the news and creating more fear in your body and your nervous system, that might not be so helpful. Tune in little bits as you need, maybe a couple minutes in the morning, a couple of minutes at the end of the day, not before bed, maybe 5, have a limit so there's no technology for a few hours before bed. It can be with your heart. And the rest of the time, tune into that which uplifts you. We have a great gift right now to have all this time and to use it wisely. And it's also a gift to be able to see the busyness of our minds. So the practice of Karma Yoga is what I want to go into next. Karma Yoga is the yoga of action. And asana practice actually can be Karma Yoga. It's watching the body move, noticing what comes alive in the system as we move, and seeing if we can stay equanimous, even-minded, as preferences arise and pass away. Okay? So Karma Yoga is how we're meant to live in this world. And it's the practice of doing every act as an offering without attachment to the outcome. That's the most important piece. So we can do things as an offering. Oh, I'm doing this because I wish for there to be more love here or more peace. But then if we're attached and we don't get the exact outcome that we want, there's a hook, then we suffer. So the outcome isn't ours. The job of this nature, the physical body, the mind and senses, is to act as an offering and leaving the outcome to the divine, consciousness, love. You know, if you're hooked into the outcome, and you'll suffer, you'll become mad. I wanted this to happen and this happened. And then the mind thinks that it knows what the best action is. But we actually don't really know what the best result is. We're not sure what's in our highest interest. We think we know, but then as we go deeper into it, things are often much different than we see. So Karma Yoga, doing every act as an offering. And I spent quite a bit of time doing the practice of Karma Yoga at the Shivananda Ashram in the Bahamas. And it was very interesting to see, you know, I had all these jobs to do, but I was still doing them with my own old mindset. So the job I had a cell phone. I was the hostess to all the guest speakers, and sometimes there were many guest speakers, and they had many, many needs all day. So I would be doing my yoga in the morning and the phone would ring, and someone would want something, and I'd go take care of it and then come back. And at first I was so frustrated. I'm like, I want to just sit and have time for my practice. I want to be able to do my meditation in peace. And then I realized, if I can actually learn how to carry the energy that I'm cultivating in my meditation and my practice into the action of walking and bringing someone a kettle or doing their laundry or whatever task it is, if I can merge these two, that's actually closer to the goal. So I started to realize that it was an incredible gift that my practice was interrupted all the time, interrupted, because it's led to me having opportunities to practice throughout the day without interruption. I'm not a master at this. I am a student of yoga, not a realized yogi. So it's all a work in progress. But we just do these things and we try and we fail and we try and we fail and we try it again. And it's okay. It takes a certain amount of times before our nature evolves. So Karma Yoga, as you act today, imagine that you are offering yourself as a vessel for love. That you're offering your body, that you're doing actions to bring love to people, to yourself included, to everyone. They say that when we are able to see sameness everywhere, you've achieved the goal of yoga. So in reality, even though it looks like we're all different, it looks like some people are better and some are worse and some are smarter and some are not so smart, it's God inside all of these costumes, okay? It's the same source animating all of these different costumes. So we're meant to serve everyone, even those that aren't able to be kind to us. We offer them love, but sometimes we need to keep the distance then, right? But from a distance. distance, okay, I offer love to that person because you know that in reality it's just us. So our relationship, I believe that Swami Shivananda talks about, when your finger accidentally cuts your face or scratches your face, you don't get mad at your finger and punish it because you know this is one body. And it's the same. Everyone who's on this planet right now, we're one body. So when one costume, when one person affects you, don't be mad at them, it's you. It's the same thing. They're like your finger scratching your face, right? So starting to practice seeing sameness in all of us. I'm going to read a little bit here from Swami Shivananda. This is from the book Sadhana. Sadhana means practice. So this massive book is about yoga practice. And it's funny, yesterday I was thinking, I think I'll talk about karma yoga tomorrow. When I wasn't sure, I didn't have any bookmarks in this book, and then I opened it right to karma yoga. So I realized, okay, karma yoga it is. So the one Atman that is in you, that's the soul. That's the energy of unconditional love. Really think about unconditional. What does that mean? It doesn't matter what the other person does, you still love them. Okay? Doesn't matter what you do, you still love yourself. That one Atman that is in you, nay, that you are. So it's not that this is in us, we are this, is everywhere. Not else in there in the entire universe. Everything is dear to you only because everything is your own self. So this is a practice. Spend time outside in nature and practice seeing yourself in everything. Who then can be your friend? Who your foe? Who then can be your superior? Who your inferior? Who can cheat you and whom can you cheat? Who can do you any harm and how can you do any harm to others? Love, love, love. For everything is your own self. Will you wantonly cut your own throat? That is what you are doing when you injure another, in thought, word, or deed. Oh, it's right here. Again, supposing your finger hurts your eye by mistake, will you cut it off? Similarly, you should not retaliate when your brother hurts you by mistake. You should accept whatever comes, applause and criticism, praise and condemnation, love and hatred, gain and loss, as God's kindly gifts. This is a tricky one. It says in the text that the yogi is even-minded in pain and pleasure, in gain and loss, in heat and cold, because all of those things are just the body reacting to the senses, right? And so those are sense experiences, but once we're deeper in yoga, we know, oh, we're none of those. What we are is much, much deeper than that. It's not possible to harm or touch it in any way. Take everyone who comes in contact with you as a manifestation of God or love himself. Bow to everyone. Prostrate even before asses. Develop humility to the maximum extent. To become humbler than the blade of grass should be your ideal. If you feel everybody is but a manifestation of God, you will not only tolerate, but positively love criticisms. So, this is a lot. It's not an easy practice for the ego, but I hope you can see that it's a path worth taking on. Because if all of us right now, I think already many of us are right now, are starting to notice how interconnected we are. So if we really use this time to practice karma yoga all day, still wake up early, right? Still get up early and do your practice. I'm actually waking up earlier now, I find, because I have this desire to meditate more. Do your practice and serve, especially now, sharing love. I'll read one more thing too. This is from the Tao Te Ching in a translation from Stephen Mitchell. It's verse number 9. It says, fill your bowl to the brim and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife and it will blunt. Chase after money and security and your heart will never unclench. That's external chasing attachment. Care about other people's approval, and you will become their prisoner. Do your work, then let go. This is the way of heaven. So it comes back, of course, to one of the causes of suffering I talked about last week, non-attachment. And I've been meaning, I've saved these videos, and I'm not sure if I put that on YouTube yet, but I will put that up on YouTube as well. And I hope this is helpful. Thank you everyone for being here. I hope you have a beautiful day. If you have questions or if there's something specific you'd like me to talk about, please share in a direct message to me. And if you know someone who would benefit from this talk, it will stay up on my story for 24 hours, and then I'll post it on Instagram, on YouTube, so please share. Lots of love. Namaste.